Yeah, I think that that's a fantastic point, Wali, and I think one of the reasons why people stay away from stocks in a lot of different regions, especially like if I talk about uh, not so much the Middle East but South Asia, is a lot of people perceive stocks as gambling, which is absolutely incorrect.
Yes,
It's a false conception because what people typically think is that, oh, this is all about I'm going to put $5 today and it's going to become $10 tomorrow. No, that's not how it works, right?
yes,
Sometimes, yes, there are people who do day trading for a living. That's a very different story. But one concept which I learned as I invested in stocks was this concept called dollar cost averaging, right? That you find the right stocks, the stable stocks, and then over time, you, like you mentioned, you do those small investments and they grow over time. Because if you look at the 50-year chart for any index, whether it's S&P
yes,
500 or Nasdaq or Canadian TSX, whatever, they have all grown over time, right? So it's
yes.
basically you are not only inflation protecting your savings, but at the same time you are also trying to get
Yeah,
some good savings.
averaging out, and also you're getting the dividends as well. It's not only there are so many misconceptions for the stocks, by the way. You can even invest in real estate through the stocks, through the REITs. So there are so many ways that you can invest in the stock market. Because when I talk to people, and again I would say that highly educated people, and when I talk to them about general investment, not about stocks, general investments. See, I'll give you an example. One of my colleague, I was telling him that I'm gonna make a video on this topic separately, because he was mentioning something which is very common for me. And after let's say for last 3 4 years, when I've been making such content, it's very like it's a very common thing that nobody should be missing this. But still, he was showing me one of the product which was giving 6% return, but that 6% was giving in the return was maturing in 6 months. So I told him it's not the 6% return is not in 6 months. The 6% return is annualized, and then you will get the return on let's say after 6 months. So that is
Yeah,
3% return. So this is a very common thing, and he's a MBA, by the way. He's an engineer as well as an MBA. So coming these kind of things from such kind of people is really surprising still for me. And I tell them that if you're subscribed to my channel, you should not be talking about these kind of things such in such a way. So this is a very small example. There are so many examples that people miss out, and when I tell them, they think I'm doing some favor to them, but it's for me it's a very common thing, and actually it's a very common thing. But definitely common sense is missing nowadays.
absolutely. And even the point you made about credit card is such an important one. I was actually shocked recently. As I'm sure you know this, like Canada, US have gone through this whole huge cycle of inflation. I mean, the whole world is going through it.
Hmm.
So of course, around the world we are facing some financial or tough times, I would say. And I was shocked. I'm going to find the exact number and put it on the podcast here when I post it. Is a shockingly high number of Canadians basically rely on credit card as a source of their liquidity, which means that they don't end up paying their entire credit card bill at the end of the month, which is very shocking to me. Because if you think about it, even right now, let's say you take your mortgage, which is at a very high interest rate at the moment, but the highest you're talking about is 5-6%, right? Credit card debt is basically 22%. It's crazy, and I don't think it's any better whether you go to Dubai or whether you are in India or you are in the US, right? It's kind of
No, no,
as
it's in Dubai it's 45%.
say so even
45%. And for the
so
first time, HSBC sent an SMS telling us that it is 45%. I was shocked to see that SMS. I made a video about that. How come they're telling so bluntly that it's 45%? Otherwise, normally what they say is it's 4%, 3%, because they will tell you only the monthly rates, but they're not going to tell you the full picture of annual return. I mean,
that's right.
the penalty.
That's right.